Hi everyone. Welcome to week 11 of our Comp 2 class. This week is going to focus on arguing, synthesizing, and writing a research statement. Once you have developed a focus for writing Project 3, you will begin to study argumentation and to clarify what you want to research and what you already know about the topic. If I've had a few people reach out to me and bounce topic ideas off of me, please feel free to do that. We'd be happy to hear about your topics, answer any questions that you might have, potentially suggest resources if I, have anything in mind. So feel free to email me about what you're thinking for writing Project 3. Your first task is some readings from the textbook, as well as an online reading called The Moral Instinct. Task 2 is thinking about argumentation. After you have read Arguing a Position and Synthesizing Ideas, I have some prompts for you to respond to. In a paragraph each, answer the following questions about your current view on your topic. So first of all, what is your position? Is there a potential counter position? There's almost always some sort of counter position, even if you are, I'll give you an example. Like I've had students before write about like sex trafficking, and now the maybe gut reaction is like, well, of course everyone is against sex trafficking, but we know that that can't be true because it does continue to exist. So that means that there are, reasons out there for why this problem has not been stopped. You may need to think a little bit, kind of creatively or even, abstractly about your topic in order to identify a counterposition. But there's almost certainly some sort of counterpoint that you could address in your writing. Is your argument, is what you plan on, arguing and defending, is that representative of the status quo or not? Or in other words, do most people agree with you, or are you going against the grain? Are you going to argue something that is perhaps pushing back against our society or culture's expectations? And then how can you use this information to better appeal to your reader? Task 3, I have some questions for you to answer about the reading The Moral Instinct. Now that you have thought about your position on your topic, let's look at how another writer used research to support his point. As you write your first draft of Writing Project 3, you'll need to provide an explanation of how the sources you are quoting support your argument. To prepare for that, you need to answer some questions regarding how another author translated academic research into common language. First of all, Pinker's essay, published for a general American readership, incorporates the work of scholars and scientists. What techniques does he use to create interest in the question of moral judgments for general readers? Next, where does Pinker translate academic research into common language, and where doesn't he? Try to formulate the principle he uses for retaining philosophical language or not. So where is he deciding to use common language? Where is he deciding not to use common language? What does his approach seem to be, and why? That's another way of thinking about that question. Number 3, near the center of the essay is a section titled A Universal Morality. Does Pinker believe that morality is universal, or does he question this concept? How does the remainder of his essay clarify his position? And finally, Pinker's essay was published without footnotes, yet it clearly credits the work of many other philosophers and researchers. Choose one reference to another person's scholarly work, find the article on which it is based, and write a brief discussion of how Pinker paraphrases and/or cites the work. You might consider whether Pinker describes the work accurately or whether he oversimplifies it or distorts it. Task 4 is writing a research statement. By this point, you should have gathered 10 to 15 outside sources. When I say this point, you can still be working on this, during this week. But before you do task 4, before you write your research statement, you should really have a pretty good idea of not necessarily which sources you are definitely going to use, but you should have a nice collection of potential sources. You're going to write a 1 to 2 page summary of your research. I'd like you to begin with a brief paragraph summarizing what you found as a whole, and then name your top 3 sources you intend to use. So which 3 seem to be the best, the most useful. I'd like you to summarize each one and explain why this source is valuable to your paper. Then I'd like you to list 2 to 3 other sources you found and do the same thing. So you're going to summarize them and then explain, why they might be valuable. And then end with a final short paragraph and discuss how much research you still need to find. Are you done researching, or do you feel like you are still in the process? Task 5 is posting to the discussion board. First post is due on Thursday. After completing your research statement, I'd like you to post it to the discussion board. And in your post, I'd like you to briefly discuss what challenges you have faced in conducting your research. And then your reply posts are due on Saturday. You need to comment on 2 of your peers' research statements. Does the research look credible to you? You can comment on the credibility or lack of it. Do they have a good mix of primary and secondary sources? You can discuss their planning with them, what they plan on doing in their paper. Any interesting ideas that you have or any feedback that you want to provide is fair game. And how similar or different is their planning compared to yours? And then you're going to be submitting the writing that you completed for tasks 2 and 3, which are the thinking and answering activities. That is all for this week. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Be more than happy to help you out. I also work in the writing centers on Fridays from 9 to 4. It's a great time for me to help you out with research, or talk about writing in general, or to give you feedback on anything that you're working on. Have a good week.